We are live. What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the 22nd episode of the Trainman Report. My name is Holden Stephan Roy. We have Alex, the Trainman Montagano, there figuring out how to share things fast on his phone for Facebook. You can see it in his glasses that he's got it open.
Can't do it.
We've also got Helene Mayer joining us today. We're going to be talking about Art Hop and a whole bunch of other stuff. And it's honestly a real treat to have you here, Helen. You come up, like I was saying a bit beforehand, on the board of directors of Notre Dame des Arts. You're like heralded with very high esteem. People constantly speak on you as a reference for things we could do. We point to you as an example for success. The Art Hop is proven to be, like, it's not really my domain. Like, I didn't really know what Art Hop was until I got more involved in the not-for-profit world, because full disclosure, I just never paid attention to that side of life much. And then I saw how deep the work that y'all do is and how much you've done, and it's just like, as a musical artist in NDG, that's an artist for the area, I thank you for all the contributions you've done to like helping build up the whole neighborhood and everything. And I just wanted to start off saying that before Alex comes in and gives you his version of flowers and praises as he does his eloquent intros. And for those watching, it is a live show, so feel free to throw your comments in and we'll do our best to answer in real time. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X, formerly known as Twitter. So if you want to watch us on any of those platforms, you can contribute to the conversation. On that note, Alex, why don't you take it away with your introduction?
Well, thank you so much for that intro there, Holden. Helene Mayer has been the chief organizer of the NDG Art Hop, and it's coming up. It's coming up in May. Isn't that correct? It's the 25th, 26th. Did I get that right?
Yeah, the end of May.
That's right. And this is an opportunity for all people in NEG, or Montreal for that matter, to introduce themselves to the NDG artists that live among us. And I've always been very, very impressed about the organizational skills of Helen. She's also an artist in her own right. And I always have a good time talking and having conversations with Helen. She is a master of banter. Let's put it that way. And I guess, we've had many conversations about the Art Hop, and obviously, on top of that, we've had many conversations about your history. And you are an NEGer, a long-standing NEGer, an artist, and I just trying to understand, like, your origin story. Like, were you born? Are you born and raised NEGer, or are you like an immigrant, if we could use that expression?
I was born a long time ago.
Oh, you were, eh?
In Montreal.
Your parents were successful in that endeavor, were they?
No, when I went to high school, I was getting into trouble, like, kissing boys and stuff.
Oh, no.
So my parents sent me to the convent, the Villa Maria.
Oh, really?
So that was in the 60s, and that's where I started in NDG. And after that, I did 2 degrees, CEGEP at Loyola, and then CEGEP at Dawson, and then I came back to Loyola to do my Bachelor of Science.
Yeah, when you say CEGEP, you mean universities or CEGEP?
No, I mean CEGEP, because I'm old, right? Like,
right.
And
well,
when I got
older
to
than me,
when
yes.
I got to CEGEP time,
right.
Loyola was a CEGEP.
I see.
Then it was anyway.
So CEGEP has been around for a real long time is the main takeaway from that.
Yes. I think the first year for CEGEP was 1970, but I don't know. I don't know for sure.
But I'm
like
still
the
confused.
Loyola campus, like, that was a CEGEP, you're saying?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I'm confused. You did your CEGEP and then you did a BA. Where did you do your BA?
I didn't do a BA. I did a BSc.
Oh, I see. A Bachelor of Science.
But I did CEGEP in arts.
Right.
And then I did CEGEP again in science.
I see.
And then I went into university and did science.
What university did you get your BSc from?
Concordia.
Okay. But
So,
Concordia and Loyola merged some point,
that's
Sir
right.
George. Okay.
So that's when I came to NDG.
Because before Concordia, there was two English universities, smaller English universities, Loyola and Sir George Williams. Is that correct?
That's right.
And they merged and became Concordia, right?
Yeah.
So when they merged, St. George and Loyola, was Loyola a CEGEP or was it a university at that time?
I don't know, but I did CEGEP there.
Okay. All right.
So you went to Loyola and CEGEP and then went back for university?
Yes.
That's super nifty. I don't think there's a lot of people that can make that claim.
Right. So saying that, here you are, you've got your BSc, and then I remember having conversations with you that you were working at McGill for many years. Is that something you went right into, or is there something that we're missing in that timeline?
I was a waitress for a bunch of years in really fancy restaurants and made lots of money.
Mm-hmm.
And then I applied for a job at McGill in 1981 in the Faculty of Medicine, and I was doing graphic stuff and photography, stuff like that. And I thought it would be for the summer, but I left 35 years later.
Wow. That's a long tenure. Wow.
Yeah. So my last 18 years were in the Faculty of Engineering.
Really? So you were hanging around engineers all the time?
All the time.
Wow. And you have an artistic bent. So how was that for you, being someone Yes?
People think that engineers are just like science geeks, they're very creative.
Well, that's what I think.
There's a lot of artists who are engineers.
I always thought they were. I relate to what you're saying a lot, because especially when you look at computer engineers, like what they do comes off boring at a top level if you don't understand it, but they really have to come up with creative and innovative ways to stand out amongst each other while also playing within the bigger rule set that exists. And it's like producing any kind of engineering work has this art component to it, whether it's architecture, whether it's game design, all of it. Like there's this extra element to it that it's either elegant or it's ugly when all is said and done.
And it's always creative work, So there you go.
So let's talk about, you're an artist in your own right. And what inspired you? Where did this artistic kind of energy or this interest of yours, where did that spawn? Where did that start?
Oh, well, my father was a working artist.
Really?
And he met my mother in art school.
I see.
Yeah. So
working artist, who did he work for himself?
Radio-Canada.
Really? So what do you do for Radio-Canada?
He was a set designer.
Ah, how's that?
And he also worked. Do you remember? I don't know. You're very young. You might not remember the.
Yeah, I'm very, very young. That's right.
Do you remember the Cafcons? Do you know about the Cafcons? It was like a cabaret type thing in Chateau Champlain.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy who ran that, he had a place in Las Vegas and another one in Bahamas. And my father did all the set designs for that.
So he did set designs. Was that his thing then? That's cool.
Yeah.
It's amazing the things these guys can do with the sets. It just blows me away.
Yeah.
And your mother was also
that is definitely engineering meets art put together right there in one job.
Well,
good point.
I'm going to take my laptop with me here, and I'm going to show you a drawing that my father did.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That he gave me.
A walking tour of Helen's apartment.
This is our first walking tour in the entire Trainman history.
Are we going to make the cats and the dog?
Oh, look! Can you see that?
That's
holy
very
smackaroni!
Nice. Yeah, that's very cool.
Detailed.
That's all pencil work.
And what is that representative of?
Who knows?
Okay.
I think he made it up.
Well, that's an important part of being an artist, right?
Yeah.
Your imagination, I guess, right? Okay. Right. So going.
It's still beautifully made.
So continuing along with the conversation, what inspired you? So here you are, you're an artist. what inspired you like to like create this art hop? And
Oh,
maybe you know, you don't
no,
want to
I did
run.
not create this.
You did
Okay,
not. You don't take credit for it. So
no, not at all.
tell us the I don't know, the origin
How it
story for
started.
art hop. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a Montreal artist named Michael Clegg,
Mm-hmm.
and he apparently he used to put a sign outside his apartment once a year, open studio. And then in 2017, he thought, well, why don't I ask other artists to do that too? So he created this, he called it the NDG Art Hop, and he contacted a bunch of artists, me included. And the first Art Hop was in September that year, 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the Art Hop, he had a meeting with all the people who were involved, and how could we do it better next year, and blah blah blah. And that's how I said, okay, I'll help organize that, because I already knew that I had really good organizing skills.
Mm-hmm.
I used to organize all kinds of events in the Faculty of Engineering for students and stuff like that. So I joined him, and there was another artist, Laurence Dion.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how I got involved in the Art Hop.
Excellent.
Can we just, before we go on, can we just assume that there are people who might not know what an art hop is at all?
Yeah,
and can you just kind of describe
What's
what art hop is, but like as if it's to a tourist who's never heard it before?
Good point there.
Oh, hi. Do you want to know about the artists in NDG?
I do.
Okay, so we get we open the doors to studios of different artists in NDG. We have 20 artists this year. We've never had more than 20. And there's a lot more artists in NDG, but for a thing like that, you can't have too many artists, because then nobody will get a chance to visit everything. So the idea is that you get a map, and there's a map with all the different artist studios written on the map, and you go from place to place to place, and you go and visit the studios. And what's really cool about it is that, if you go to an art show, an exhibition, usually the person who's doing the exhibition has put up their best work, right? But when you go into a studio, you get to see, the crap. You get to see what all the work that goes into making something good, So
That's well said.
So that's the advantage to actually visiting an artist studio, as opposed to, going on their website or going to a gallery and seeing, their best work. So does that answer your question on what it is?
Yeah, it's like Porch Fest, but like to go through studios instead.
Yeah, it's like a pub crawl.
Yeah.
But without beer.
Well, there could be beer.
Well, no.
Artists, I feel like you said that, and I just pictured every artist giving you a, bro, I got paper in this room. Why are we bringing liquids in here?
Right. Yeah. So, I participate in Art Hop. I have the honor, considering that I'm kind of like, my art's kind of like a train art, which is kind of offbeat. But I think I had visited the other studios of the artists involved, and it's really cool because you kind of get a window into the artist's mind a little bit, because you're in their studio, they're where they work, and you see the tools they use, and they're able to share with you, the techniques that they use in creating their art. I do that, and I find it's a lot of fun. It's a really great experience. And people come, go around by bike, by car, they walk, and it's a great way to consume art from just a visual perspective, and buy it, because there's a lot of art being sold that day as well. And And
Mm.
yeah, and to celebrate NDG artists. Am I catching all the main points there, Helen?
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
But you kind of downplay what you do, but creating scale models is really, what you do is art. It's not, oh, go see Alex, he's got trains. It's a real setup.
I can co-sign that, because like it's like Alex will take the time to take a landmark, let's say in NDG, some random building.
Yeah.
And when his model is finished, it's gonna have all the nuanced details. If there are gratings on one window but not on the other window, his model will reflect that, and like these little subtle nuances that get picked up on. And arguably that's art. I mean, it's like you're making little statues, and statues were always art.
You're very kind. All of you very kind. Thank
Or
you
like
so much.
action figures is art. Like, people be collecting action figures on the internet as art collectibles all over. So arguably you're in that domain. It's like, to me, I always looked at like that kind of world as visual art. So if you can, like, you're looking at it, it's, to me, whether it's a painting or if it's a statue or if it's like, a sculpture, it's all kind of in the same general domain to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And like when we first started, we just took anybody who wanted to be to participate.
That's why I'm here.
No,
The bar was low.
No, but in the beginning, we were begging people to join the Art Hop, and now we get more applications than the 20 spots, So and we don't have any craft, there's no jewelry or even pottery. We don't have that because I don't know that there's any pottery studios in NDG.
When you say studios, you don't mean like people's home studios. You mean like real studios.
It can be, your studio can be in your home.
Yeah, my studio.
But it's a studio. It's not like an exhibition, a gallery.
Okay.
In fact, I'm broadcasting my show from my
arguably,
studio.
I'm in my home studio as well.
See, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh, boom.
It's just a different, my stuff's got like soundproofing instead of visual stuff going on.
Yeah, so
it's all visual. We have sculptures. This year we have 2 sculptors. We have 2 photographers. And then we have people who do watercolors, acrylics, oils, and different things, different subject matter.
Yeah, I believe I'm the only modeler this year. The only guy who's doing modeling. Tamara, unfortunately, is not participating. She did beautiful work. It was phenomenal, the stuff she did. I had the opportunity to meet her, and it's just her talent, her skill set really was impressive. But she works on a larger scale than I do, so it's a different animal completely, right? But yeah. I guess one of the things that's on the I always put agendas for these podcast, and one of the things that I remember a conversation I had with you, and I like to talk to that a little bit, is NDG as a center for art. As you made the statement to me on several occasions that you believe that NDG has got one of the highest per capita ratio or number of artists in the city. Do you still stand by that statement?
I heard that. I don't know if it's true.
I see.
I heard that, and I've heard it again and again.
Right.
But, if it's not true, don't sue me. I didn't come up with that.
I like holding on to the idea that it is true because, being in a neighborhood with a high concentration of artists is something that appeals to me. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, but just because we want it to be true, it doesn't make it so.
Yeah, but it's the first step of making something true is wanting something, right? So let's just keep that in there. But
this is definitely like artists, and one of the things I've learned through music is there are artists in every corner of this city. And it's actually, like I'm saying, Montreal as a whole. And it's really beautiful how, like, there's entire pockets of the music scene that are going on in RDP in English that we've never heard of, because it's an RDP and it's so far away that we never really think of it, because, you know, like, it's spread around like that. But NDG definitely has its own beautiful, thriving artistic scene that's been bubbling for a very long time. So even if we don't have the densest population per artist, we still have this wide array of talented artists that do live here and do contribute to the art scene, and that's where they're being celebrated in and of itself. Which is why I think, like if Art Hop has an overflow of applications every year, that means there's at least 20 artists every year that could be selling their art commercially, that are like that actively invested in you know, being in the scene. And that's beautiful. That's a lot of people.
And, you know, sometimes there are some artists that don't necessarily sell anything, but people get to see their work. You know, there was one artist a few years ago who sold a large piece of a large painting, and it was the person that bought it had seen it the year before at the Art Hop. So, you know, you never know.
So saying that, you know, there's art for sale, and there's a variety of different artists that are using different mediums to express themselves. What is the end game, the goal of the Art Hop? Is it to, like, increase exposure? Is it to help local artists finance their art, make money, essentially, right? Because you know, we can't live you know, on air, right? We have to be able to buy provisions, right? So what is, in your mind?
I don't think the goal isn't so much to sell art, but to show art, and
Right.
to show the artistic process to people.
In the NDG context, of course.
Yeah.
So it's basically like a TikTok video in real life.
Well,
if you think about
I
how a lot of
don't
TikTok
do
marketing
TikTok
goes,
or TalkTik.
so for a little
So, I don't know.
context, a lot of what artists will do is show off their studios and the behind the scenes and the creation process via social media and a lot of video content. So like even what Alex is doing with trains, if you just set up like a phone and film the whole process and then sped it up into a 2-minute video, like, people really love that stuff. So it sounds like Art Hop is like, because it clearly predates social media, but it's like a in real life version of that. It's like you can come in and get this glimpse into the person's process, which serves as a marketing vehicle to showcase your brand and to give people a little bit more than what you would get otherwise. So it sounds like a really cool experience, to be honest. Like, something I wouldn't really consider, but now that you've explained it to me, it's like, no, I really do want to go look at artists in their studio and see, like, the art that's being created and stuff. Like, it's a really wonderful opportunity too from for the artist, because it also has something to work towards. It's like you want to get into that, and I think for me that's the more interesting side of what Art Hop brings to the table, is this community, this like badge of honor. Like, I got to do Art Hop, and this year, when did you do Art Hop? And it gives the people who participate in, like, it's like Porch Fest. Like, I'm doing Porch Fest for the first time this year, and it feels like a validation as an NDG music person. Like, if you haven't done Porch Fest, are you really an NDG artist? You know, it's like the same kind of thing with the Art Hop. And from that point of view, it gives you a way to contribute in the community at a bigger level. And I think that's the value that you really get out of something like participating in an experience like this, because I don't really think it's a for-profit organization, right? It's a not-for-profit.
No, it's a for-loss.
No, we're all volunteers working on this, so.
Yeah. So
it's like, there's a lot of hours put into it.
A lot.
To organize it properly. Can I show you our little pamphlets?
Please.
Absolutely.
Okay, so can you see that?
Yes.
So that's
I'm gonna click on you to make you bigger.
2018. That's the first one that I worked on. And it's a little booklet with all the artists' names and their address. And then it's a magic thing because it opens.
Oh, wow.
It opens
Wow,
up
look at
into a
that.
map.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
really cool.
Hey,
Yeah.
okay, boys and girls, that's a map that
So that was
predates
the
Google
first
Maps.
year,
That
and
was the very first one?
we didn't have a lot of money, so we couldn't afford to pay color printing. So it was all black and white, and we colored each one separately.
Yeah,
And we
that's a
did that
life
the
hack
next
right there.
year. And then and then there was, after 2019, of course, there was a pandemic.
Mm.
So then we started up again in 2022. And this time we had enough money for color. And this is last year's.
Mm. Mhm.
And I'm going to give you a sneak peek at this year's.
Look at that. Wow.
This is this
Wow.
year.
Look at that. Looking good.
Oh,
Looking good.
and you want to see the map?
Yeah. Show us the map.
Look at the map. It's the best map I've produced since.
Oh, isn't that
Oh, that's
nice?
really clean.
Yeah. There it
Really
is.
clean. That's
So
really
Yeah.
nice.
each red square represents a local artist
Yeah.
that has an open studio that day. So you can go around,
So
bicycle it,
we have
or you break it down to Villa Maria, Vendôme,
we
St.
have
Raymond. Okay.
3 people in St. Raymond,
Awesome.
and then you can take the tunnel. I'm trying to get this in the middle, and then you can go to Loyola.
Mm-hmm.
There's 4 artists there in
Mhm.
that area.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I think you should either bike or drive there, because it's
It's a
they're
solid
quite
1.8 kilometers away from the other
they're
part
all
of NDG.
far away from each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Villa Maria is that's also pretty spread out. It goes from North Cliff to Beaconsfield, like along Monkland.
Mm-hmm.
And then the most artists are in Vendôme.
But the best artists are in Loyola, of course.
Well, there's
I
a
say that
guy
because I'm
there
in Loyola, right?
there's a guy there who has a train set.
That's right.
That's what we've
That's
heard.
exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So that's a
So-
lot.
But
Yeah. Go ahead there, Holden.
no, sorry, I was just removing the spotlight on Zoom and kind of
So
speaking out loud.
like I participated. This is going to be my 3rd year participating. Am I getting that right? It's my 3rd year, right?
Yeah.
And what's fun is we do profiles. Oh, there I am. We do profiles of the artists, and those are shared on Facebook, on social media, so you can kind of get a taste of what you're going to see. There's Scott McLeod. He does some beautiful work, inspired by Griffintown. He's also done quite a bit of art from Greenland and Iceland as well. And you have Mona, who does metal work. Cynthia is participating this year.
Yeah.
She just paints these absolutely gorgeous flowers.
Yeah, this year she's doing a lot of collage stuff.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and every year when you're an artist, hopefully you evolve and do other things,
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
of course, if your bread and butter is to paint one style, then that's what you do,
I mean,
And what
get
about
that
you?
money.
What are you showcasing this year? How do you feel that you've evolved or changed this year in terms of your art?
Well, this year my goal was to get rid of all the excess paper and paint that I have.
Mhm.
So my paintings are all teeny tiny. I'll show you one.
Mhm.
Is that okay?
Cool.
Can I show you?
Absolutely. We love show and tell on this show. And this is like an authentic kind of show and tell. You've given us a house tour. Now we're going to get to see some custom art. This is a
Okay.
big blessing.
So I'm doing all
Wow.
things like this.
Very
That's
cool.
fucking cool.
Yeah, it is very nice. I like that. I like that. The colors and the
Here's a
shapes.
different color.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Here's another one. And I've been doing like hundreds of them. Like I have so many little green ones.
Really nice.
So the idea that this year is that, I really like straight lines. And so I do all these straight lines, and then I like to color them. And I've got a few little landscapes like this.
That's cute.
That's cute.
Like that. Yeah.
And they're all, like, as you can see,
they're upside down.
here's a pen.
There we go.
For size.
I see. And what would be like the end end game for that kind of medium of that art? Like you would be for a card, a gift.
I hope to sell them, but really my goal was to just use up some of the excess supplies that I have. So
but what would be the intended purpose of the art? If someone like myself bought it, I'd be buying it so I could give it to as a greeting card, or something to hang up in my.
No. I have some that are framed.
Right. Okay.
Just a minute.
Okay. I'm sorry. Jeez, I'm always doing this. I'm such a bad person.
See, some of them are framed with.
Oh, that's cool. That's really interesting.
Because, like, I mean, to me, I look at that and I'm like, that looks like this is not going to come off. Like, I hope it isn't weird. But I would put that up in a bathroom. That looks like some real bathroom art. Like, and I mean that because, like, to me, like, the biggest compliment you can give an artist is, like, I can see how this fits into my life. Because, like, that's, like, I can see that being little things you hang on walls or whatever. It's really cool because it's abstract and it kind of blends into other aesthetics. So you have all those color options and whatnot. Yeah. So, Alex, you could just buy it because it looked cool. And you were like,
I buy stuff all the time because it looks cool.
I have paintings in my bathroom.
I like
every
buying
restaurant
art.
You go to puts decor in their bathroom.
I take a lot of pleasure in buying art from local artists. I think it's important to support them. I think that
how much does something like that cost? Like if somebody did want to buy your stuff, they see it right now and they're like, I want one.
Yeah.
I haven't decided on the prices, but these are really small. So if they have a frame like that, they'll be a little more expensive. I don't know, $20, $30,
all right, there
50. And then my big paintings, that are properly framed and everything, that's $300, $400, $500.
Yeah, it's totally fair. Just in case people ever question it, art with canvases and stuff is not a cheap hobby. You like just producing a piece could cost you over $100 in materials, if I'm not mistaken, or am I like overvaluing that?
No. When you consider the cost of the paint, the actual canvas itself,
You know what it is? It's like buying art supplies is almost like an addiction. So you keep buying more stuff. So
I find this. I buy a lot of base materials for modeling, and I can use that. I can put this here and there, and then you find yourself in a position where you've accumulated stuff, and then I always find I have this. Does this happen to you, Helen, that you have this kind of pressure? And clearly you do, because you're basically using up scraps and and paint to produce things with it because you made those investments and you don't want it to go to waste, because paint does have a shelf life, right?
Well, I do watercolors. I do some acrylics, but I do watercolors. And the other day I opened up a tube that I had and it was completely hardened.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I just took it out of the tube and I'm going to use it like that.
Nice. Yeah.
Now, the thing about watercolors, like we have a few watercolor painters. There's Hannah Zagorna in the Loyola district.
I bought one of her pieces, yeah.
Yeah. The thing about watercolors is that, that paint does whatever it wants. You can't just do one thing. It just goes all over the place. You don't know what it's going to do, and you're constantly having to deal with accidents and things that you didn't know were going to happen and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I don't like watercolors specifically for that reason, because of
yeah.
the lack of control.
And then
I'm a control
acrylics,
freak.
I always say that watercolors is like a constant negotiation with the employee.
Right.
And the acrylics is like it does exactly what you said, not anything else. So, it's like the army. Do this and that. So, when you go from watercolor to acrylics, it's really hard because it's a completely different mindset.
Yeah, I have challenges with acrylic paints, and the reason why I have challenges with them is that I do 3D printing with resin, and the resin doesn't the acrylic paint doesn't like grab well to the hardened resin from the 3D printing process. So usually I have to lay down like a primer base first.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't paint a wall without primer, would you?
No, I wouldn't, but I guess it's
so if you've 3D printed a building, it's got walls.
Yeah, but sometimes, like I want to start with a base paint, and I use rattle cans, spray paint. And sometimes the color I want to start as a base color, right, is not available in a primer. So I'm stuck, and it's a little frustrating sometimes. And then the other issues I have with acrylic and rattle cans is that I'm working in such a small scale, right? I'm 160 times smaller than a prototype. And if I'm not careful, the paint can literally, I can fill up all the details with paint and they disappear. You follow what I'm saying?
So why don't you use like liquid acrylic and a paintbrush?
I do use a liquid acrylic, but even that causes problems. I'm starting to experiment now with an airbrush. I'll give you updates on that. I really haven't really explored that much. But like you said, right? Every year when you visit artists, we go through sort of a growing process, and we try new materials and new techniques, and that manifests itself in like the creations this year. What I can say is this year, added to the mix is I have Encore Records. So I've created a model of Encore Records, so that's on the layout. And I've done some other creative things, more on the landscaping side. So that's kind of what I've been up to.
There was another thing I wanted to tell you guys about the Art Hop. Is that this year we're going to have an exhibition for the entire month of May.
Oh, awesome.
Each artist is going to bring one painting, or in your case, it'll be one of your models. And they're going to be showcased at the Biblio Cafe.
Awesome.
Which is on Sherbrooke corner, Clifton.
That's a relatively new cafe, isn't it?
It's brand new, and the people are really, really nice. And so we were able to get that spot for the whole month. And that's going to go up probably around the 1st or 2nd of May, right up until the end of May.
Awesome.
So
saying that, like, obviously registration's closed for this year, but how would someone go about of convincing, the selection committee, which I'm assuming includes you and some other people, participating in the Art Hop? What would be the process of doing that?
Well, we do a call for artists in December, January, and there's a deadline. You have to apply by a certain time. And a lot of times, people will send me an email like now and say, I want to be part of it. And I say, well, send me your information, your artist statement, your address, a couple of pictures of what you do, and I'll put it in the file for next year. And if we have one next year, I'll contact you and say, do you still want to participate? And if you do, apply by the deadline.
What do you mean if? You always you're gonna it's gonna
Well,
be
there are sometimes there are people who have called me in the spring and they want to be part of it.
Right.
And I tell them, well, it's too late now, but maybe next year.
Right,
And
right.
when I call them the next year, they say, oh, I've changed my mind
Oh,
or
I see. No, I
so.
thought you were implying that the art hop wasn't going to continue for some reason. That's why I was asking. That's the impression.
Well, I really like doing that, so I'm gonna keep doing it until I drop, I guess.
No, that's
Okay.
fair, but it's also important because you also said you're an artist statement. So, can you I'm in the music world, and one of the things I've noticed is the lack of knowledge about the logistical realities of being an artist. Like, I didn't even realize you need a music CV until recently. That's all separate from like your regular CV and whatnot. So, like, what would some of the things an artist want to have like prepared in order to approach you, and just like what would they need to do to, I guess, feel confident that they could apply to Art Hop and other festivals of that nature?
Look, we're not that sophisticated. You know, if you wanted to apply to be part of an exhibition in a big gallery, you would have to, you know, submit an artist statement of 300 words or whatever. I mean, each place has its own set of rules, right?
Right.
We're still pretty young, so, you know, I would say, tell me, you know, what you do, what's your medium, tell me something about yourself, and show me some good quality pictures, photos of the work. So then, you know, we can choose from the applications.
Does like the skill level matter for Art Hop?
Not really. I mean, the skill level is everyone's pretty much skilled in what they're doing.
Like, let's say you're like brand new to it, you would want to take some time to get good before approaching Art Hop? Or would it be something that like newcomers to art could feel like they could apply as well?
Yeah, they could apply. And, you know, I mean, I've applied to a lot of things, and, you know, I think my paintings are pretty good, but sometimes I've applied to things and I didn't get in, you know?
Right.
That's life. Sometimes you apply for a job, you don't get it.
So, like, can you talk to us a bit about what goes into planning an event or planning something like Art Hop, and like just some advice for people who would want to create something for the community and like how to actually go about it?
Okay, well, I get a committee, I get some people, volunteers who are willing to give up some time. I start in January, and we have a meeting at the beginning of January where we decide all the things we're going to do. I have an Excel spreadsheet for everything, like the artists, the money, the all kinds of things that, you know, I fill out religiously.
And you have a website and a Facebook page as well, right?
Yeah. And yeah, so I'm always looking for volunteers to help with that, because I'm a computer idiot. So, and I'm a social media nincompoop. So
Well, you're on this podcast, so really
somebody else has to
you're
do
not
it.
totally out there, man.
Somebody else has to do that stuff, because I can't. And you know, it's just a lot of work in really just organizing and making sure that, you know, you have regular meetings and you go and just do it, you know. I don't know if that answers your question, Holden.
No, it's a good part. It's a good start because, like, you know, from that you get the sense of having like a clear mandate, but most importantly, you need people to work with, and they have to be people that are willing to give up time, and that's like a really, that's the starting point. But where do you go to find volunteers to help? Or is that just like, because like, let's say you're starting today and now we're not going to have the same level of network. So how would you, if you were to like be starting over, like approach maybe finding those original volunteers to help you with?
Well, you know, the first year that Michael Clegg did it, he did it all by himself. And really, you know, it was very hard for him to do it. And he asked for help. And he asked all the artists that were in that first art hop to come to a meeting, and we discussed, you know, how it would be better if we did this and that. And that's when we put together the first committee, which was Michael, Laurence, and myself. And then the years after that, I just asked people that I knew. You know, sometimes people work well together, sometimes not so much. You know, it depends. And this year we have a really good gang of people that are doing a lot of the grunt work, you know, like we have one artist that went out to all the businesses to get some advertising money. We had to design the poster.
So like you guys like ask businesses for money?
Yep.
See, Alex, that is a strategy. We had discussed doing that for Trainman Report.
Yes. But you know, I think that what I've heard from this, yeah, thank you. They got the politicians to give some money too.
I guess that's why I was like, because I was wondering
we should
why
go to
all the politicians
Trainman
are the
Report. Should go
first
to the
thing you see
politicians
in
and
there.
ask them for money. Oh, don't watch the episode where we gave you a hard time, but give us your money now.
No, absolutely.
Well, you know,
That'll be an easy sell.
I don't want.
I could work around.
We need money so we can give you a hard
Peter
time.
McQueen likes me so far. Me and Peter are good.
I don't want a program with 5,000 ads on it. So I ask for everyone to give a certain amount.
All right.
And I keep it limited to.
I see you have no cryptocurrency advertisement on there or any Bitcoin. What's going on there, Helen?
I don't know what that is. That doesn't.
That's
you know me.
one day.
I use
but
cash.
That's really interesting. So like you do find that in general the businesses are receptive to that? I mean, I say it selfishly because I am now slowly taking on fundraising responsibilities at Notre Dame des Arts. So I'm like, ooh, how do you fundraise? Like, where do you go to accomplish this? Because like, you know, you could throw events and ask people for money only for so long, or I haven't figured out how to keep it sustainable yet. So it's like interesting to see the different approaches other organizations do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I was on the board of the Notre Dame des Arts, we had fundraising events. We would have like, a big party that people would pay money to attend. And we had artists donating some works that would be sold. So that was a good way to get some money.
That is super interesting.
But I was not involved in the money getting at all. So you'd have to go back look at the minutes if there are any. So that's another thing. That's another thing that's really important when you're organizing something like that, is to take good minutes and to keep them so that you can refer to everything that you did, when you did it, how you did it, why you did it.
What I take away from, Holden, you're asking, how do you get something like this going? What I take away from, this podcast or this interview with Helen is that this was very organic. It started really small and it grew into something larger. And I think that's like, if you're an NDG or Montreal or anybody for that matter, and you have an idea for, an event, whatever it may be, and there's a community out there that's interested in it, everything starts small, right? So, HP, they started making their printers out of their garage, right? So It's
Apple?
it always starts, it all starts from somewhere, right?
It always starts in the garage.
It's always very like small and insignificant. It seems insignificant at the time, right? And then it grows and becomes something larger. And what I like about the Art Hop is that there was a gentleman, Mike, who started the endeavor, and Helen now is spearheading it. And the hope is that other people get involved, and maybe when Helen is no longer able to continue with this endeavor, which I know is going to go indefinitely, because she's got so much energy and a good spirit too. You should see when we do the Art Hop, she has a meeting where she invites us all to give us an orientation, and it's a lot of fun. We're all there, we're artists, we take a group photo together, there's like camaraderie, and I think it's a great like community building exercise for NDG. And the nice thing about it is that it leads right off Porch Fest. So Porch Fest, it's a great opportunity for people to go and visit musicians and see their artists in their own right. And then the weekend after, you can go see the visual artists. And I think it sets like this this kind of habit of how to engage with the community at NDG. And I think it's great. It's awesome. Fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. I do.
We used to do it. It used to be held in September, but I changed it to the end of May because it's so much work. And I was working on this all summer long. And so I decided if we do it in May, then I'll be working on it when it's icky out.
Right. Yeah, March, April are pretty crappy months.
Yeah.
That's
so when is the date for this year's Art Hop?
25 and 26.
May.
May 25 and 26,
and that's
Saturday
all
and
day,
Sunday.
Right? Yeah, it starts at like 10 in the morning and
11
in the morning, excuse me, and goes into what time?
6 p.m.
Yeah. And I have
all
a great
the artists
time.
are like stationary. Do they have like a schedule when they're there, or is the artist just there all day at their spot?
They have to be there the whole time.
I'm here all day.
That was the first year that we did it, there were some artists that they weren't there. They wanted to go see what other people were doing, so they weren't there, and then the public would come to their house and there was no one there. So that's when we decided to charge people. Like we said, okay, there's going to be a fee. There's a participation fee. So once you've paid some money, then you have an incentive to stay there. And when we have the information session, that's one of the things that we tell everybody: you got to be there the whole time. If you need to go, I don't know, buy cigarettes, then make sure somebody is there, because we don't want people showing up at your door and there's no one there.
Yeah, and I participate, and I get big crowds. I do tours, and I'll take like 6 people at a time, because my studio, it can only handle but 6 people at a time. And I have a lot of fun. Like I describe the art, explain it. I show them the tools I use.
Yeah.
The trains are running and it's all illuminated. I got all the lights going. I have a lot of lighting in my layout, the artistic lighting, if I could use that word. And a nice thing about my studio is that say if the parents decide to bring the kids along, I'm kind of like, I can be that stop that keeps the kids interested, right?
Yeah.
And I have a lot of fun with it, because a lot of my models are like, for example, I have I created a model of the original impress, the original construction, and I have a history kind of conversation, so it mixes my passion for art, history, trains. It's all big, it's a stew, and I just love serving it up, so I have a great time. And I want to thank you, Helen, for allowing me to participate. That privilege. It is a privilege for me to participate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and you do that really well, because, there's some people who are too shy to, really engage with their visitors. But, we hope that they will, as much as possible, show people how they do things. There was one year we had a photographer that does microscopic photography.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, he had the whole setup in
I would like
his
to see
kitchen
that.
table,
Yeah.
and he's showing people how he gets the stuff under the microscope, and, you know, that, and he had like a little show, right? So that was really great. And yeah, it's good to have to show people how you do things, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and going back to what Holden said earlier about a YouTube video or a TikTok video that shows the process, I can do that because part of
You
my
should do
modeling
that.
and part of my modeling starts in a 3D rendering software where I actually design things in a 3D software before it becomes a physical, like I print it and becomes a physical object. And that, to me, that whole like process right there, it just blows my mind away, and I just have a really fun time sharing that with people because I think that technology is going to be out there in a major way.
I know it's wild. I have a friend who built a whole jewelry business off of 3D printing. Like he's able to just take whatever your logo is and then, you know, print it out to metal and do whatever with it, and
they have
builds a
3D
whole
printers
thing around that.
Yeah, they have 3D printers that printed metal. I'm in the resin. I use resin, right? It's liquid. Yeah, I don't know if you ever watched Star Trek, or you have like these things that create things out of nothing, out of energy. It's kind of like got a liquid, and you get a solid object out of it. It's really like kind of
like water
stuff.
turns into ice cubes.
And basically, yeah, into the shape that you want. And the 3D technology, resin technology, I'm working in nanometers. Like it's really small and really precise. The detail I can get is quite remarkable. Remember what I talked about, I can lose detail with paint really quickly. That's some of the challenges I have, right? But I guess saying that, we're going to be distributing flyers and information about the Art Hop. The reason why I'm talking to that is because I'm help you on the marketing and promotional side. So in the next couple of weeks during the Porch Fest, there will be information available. They'll be distributed. There's going to be I do profiles of artists that I publish on social media, and I know that the local press is taking an interest in your Art Hop, so hopefully we'll get some local media coverage again. And I know that many artists, like for example Mona, who does the metal art, was featured. There was a feature article on her in the Suburban. So these are established artists. Yes, Helen accepts new artists who are starting out, who are how do you say, in the process of mastering their craft. But there's a lot of established artists that are participating in the Art Hop. Don't think for a second it's all like stick arc, or rinky dink stuff. No, these are artists who have had a long standing tradition.
There was one year that we had an artist, and she didn't come back. I think she moved away, but she had fallen on hard times, and her art was very like pop art, and she sold a lot of works.
Yeah.
And I was so happy about that because, the established artists, like there's some artists in our Art Hop who, live off their art, and they know how to market, and they do marketing and all kinds of things. But it's really nice to take on people who, just don't really know how to get out there,
Yeah,
and we have a few people like that.
Do you guys is it for the Art Hop, is it just like the one weekend a year, and then is there anything that goes on throughout the year, or is it just the one thing?
No, just one thing.
Yeah, but
it's
mind you,
the work for one thing.
Yeah, but the artists themselves, right, are promoting, and they use the Art Hop and their exposure there to build upon, their what do you say, visibility, right? So I don't know what you would call it.
It's
their profile.
Actually the first year it was over 2 weekends.
Oh.
And so, you could always invite people during the week and stuff like that. But nobody wanted to stay home for two weekends, like 4 days.
Yeah.
That's a big
So it
commitment.
turned into a one weekend thing. And we can't really have like more than 20 artists because we don't want to dilute the number of visitors that everybody gets, you know?
Right.
Like some of the people are far, you know, like some of the people in the Loyola district are far away and they might not get a lot of visitors.
We're
So
close. You're the one who's far away, Helen.
That's I'm sorry, but Alex, there's nothing out here in Loyola compared to the other side of NDG. It's just more popular.
Are you in
Unless-
Loyola, Holden?
Yeah, I'm on fielding. So I'm sitting here like I'm acutely aware of like we got Summerled. Summerled's trying real hard. It's chugging along.
You're on
But,
fielding and what?
Rosedale.
Now we know where
Okay,
Holden
so
lives.
we have an artist on
Somebody tagged my
Mahone?
building.
Hannah's not,
Okay.
Hannah's not far from me, right? She's just up the street from me. She's a great
Well, up
artist.
the street, but it's a long street.
Yeah.
And then we
It is a
have
long
somebody
street.
on Macone.
Macomb.
Yeah, I didn't know where that street was. I
I don't
saw
know
the
where
street
Macomb
name and
is.
I'm
Let me
like,
see,
I
I
wasn't
have it-
really
I
sure
have it
where
in
that
front of me.
was.
Oh, it's next to O'Brien.
I don't
Okay.
have the list here. I can't
I
see
think
it.
Anyway.
Alex was the closest one to me, to be honest.
Yeah, and you got to come down. You got to come down for that day. It's a good day. I have the layout all in its glory, and I have some other things I'll be adding to it for the kids. I have a little model car that I'll give to the kids on the N scale.
Cool.
Choking hazard for kids under 3 years old, of course.
So people should also go to the Art Hop website
That's
because
correct.
I've done a montage of for each artist of some of their work. So, you know, it shows you what kind of work they do. And, you know, if you're not interested in
Trains.
trains, then you don't go see Alex.
That's
If
simple as
you're
that.
interested in flowers, you go see Maria
Or Cynthia, yeah.
or
Absolutely.
Cynthia. Yeah. So it's a good way to look. I mean, we do have, you know, little pictures of the work, but I mean, you can't really tell from this. But anyway,
You know,
Oh, but it's pretty clear. The website is ndg-art-hop.com, and then you can easily click on, go through all the different artists there. There's a picture of Alex in full hat on. He's clearly working hard on his modeling.
that's what I do.
So you can get that picture there. It's worth clicking on over. But no, it's a really clean website.
thank
Alrighty.
you. I
So-
did that.
So in conclusion,
Nice, well done.
to this,
So you're
to this
not
wonderful-
bad at technology after all. You
Yeah,
can
but
do
it's-
it.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, but it takes me forever.
It takes
Takes all of-
everybody
You know what? It even takes the youngsters forever. It's just that the youngsters don't have nothing else to do. So for them, putting 5 hours into a TikTok is just a use of an evening.
I did not
The rest
say
of
that.
us are stressing out.
Holden said that.
I'm telling you, it's the facts of it. I'll be talking to like 17-year-old rappers and things like that, and
Not say that.
you realize that like young people, they just got a lot more disposable time, because as you get older, you fill that time with people and things, and young people haven't done that yet. So for them, putting 15 hours into learning some mundane basics, that's easy. That's just a weekend. They'll just throw that weekend away and learn some shit. Whereas us, you know, we're established. We have responsibilities, and that's what gets in the way of learning new crafts. But honestly, first time I opened up TikTok, it took forever to get comfortable with it. It wasn't like you instantly just learn it. It is a miserable process for all of us in all age groups.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that.
I'm having a miserable experience with TikTok. So, I as always, Helen, my friend, thank you so much for joining us today and giving us a window into what the Art Hop's about. I encourage everybody in NDG or Montreal to come in and check out the local artists, maybe buy some art, learn some, techniques. And if you come and happen to visit me, learn a little bit about Montreal's history, and see some trains. And there's really a lot of different artists who are featuring a lot of different creative things, and I'm really honored to participate in this event. And again, thank you so much. You're very kind.
Yeah, no, it was a pleasure to have you, Helen. And again, like, what you do is really great work. Like, there's even more stuff to your story that we didn't touch on, like the stuff you do organizing events for students or with students, and just being tapped into that world and giving your experience to people is very valuable. And the world just benefits from that kind of pay it forward mentality, and your willingness to give. It shines and other people see it, and it makes them more willing to give. And I know that because I've met people that are inspired by you in particular. So like, I can say that it's like a real testament to how communities build, is it that level of giving. And then in the big picture, you're able to find those volunteers when you need it, and you're able to make things happen because of the way you put yourself out there. And it's a really good example of how to make it happen. And I definitely encourage people to check out Art Hop and check out the website. So I'll be linked in the future. It's not linked now, but it will be linked in the future for those watching it once this is finished streaming. Also, big thanks to everybody that watched it live and stuck with us throughout the stream. And those of you watching in the future, you're also valuable. Please make sure to tell your friends about what we're doing here at the Trainman Report. Recommend us, let the people know. If you have a story or you represent something or you want to come talk about what you're up to, feel free to come on our platform. On that note, shout out that radio show on CJLO, the What's Happening in NDG, because they're basically the same thing, but it's cleaner and friendlier in a different way. And like, I would say it's a lot more safe for work, and they're doing it over on CGLO. I think it's Thursdays at 11 a.m. and that's Concordia's radio station, because we do have a radio station that broadcasts right here in the neighborhood. And I know we don't really listen to it because it's on the AM dial, and they said don't do that, go to their website instead. So I'm just passing along what was told to me. Go to the CJLO website to check it out. But that is a lot of NDGers and people who are producing stuff out of here. So shout out them as well. And we got to give love to we got to put the effort in to show people what's available in our neighborhood, or it'll never get the shine it deserves.
Talk to your neighbor. Holden, you're so right. You're so on the money. Yeah, talk to your neighbors. Tell them the stuff that the local content you're consuming and what's happening out there. And yeah, it's just important community building exercises. Absolutely.
Awesome. And yeah, make sure to check out Art Hop. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for more content. We'll be back next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, streaming live for all of you. And tell Alex. Alex has his movie thing happening on
this
Thursday.
That's right.
And so if you're around and want to listen to the story of Anglophones and dispel some myths and not get engaged in heated debate, instead have some riveting enlightenment happen in your life, check out the Rex Rogers film, What We Choose to Remember, with Alex over at the Legion, which is another NDG establishment that you can rent to throw your own events. And there's not that many venues, so it's good to know about all of them.
Great venue, by the way. With a fully stocked bar, I should point out.
Yeah, they do have a fully stocked bar, and if it's upstairs, but they also have a downstairs room without a fully stocked bar, so you can have multiple events happening in the same day. Either way, shout out the Legion, shout out Art Hop, shout out everyone there. Make sure to go give Alex his attention when he's there with his trains, and learn a little bit about NDG history through his modeling efforts. On that note, everyone, appreciate you all one more time, and live long and prosper, everyone out there.
Nanu Nanu.
I haven't heard that in years.
I haven't heard that in a while either.
Mark and Mindy.